Welcome to BWI, and today I am bringing to you the first ever edition of Raw versus SmackDown. I know I was supposed to upload this Wednesday. I couldn't Wednesday, and Thursday I couldn't as well. So I'm uploading it here today. Um, so yeah. Anyways, what this is a segment here on BWI where we put the two shows against each other in an epic showdown to see who did the best this week. The way we're gonna do this is we're gonna take a look at which show had the better opening segment and or match, which show had the better build up to the pay-per-view, in this case SummerSlam, which show had the better matches and or wrestling in general, and which show had better women's matches, segments, whatever it may be in the women's division, and finally which show had the better ending. So this should be very, very fun. So please sit back and enjoy. I will try to stay as unbiased as I can in this. I don't really have a favorite show in particular, but anyways, you're gonna see that I really need to leave this disclaimer because you're gonna see why it may look like I favor another show. But anyways, that being said, let's just get started and look at which show had the better opener right now. The openings to Raw and SmackDown were each quite the same. They both started off with promo work, although Raw got the better end of the deal with the more entertaining promo and a less confusing outcome. Of course, we had Enzo and Cass, Chris Jericho, and Kevin Owens all squaring off in the ring, talking to each other, one another's team split in half. Four of the best talkers, really entertaining. As for SmackDown, we had Bray, Dean, Dolph, because he's still relevant. WWE's really trying to shove him down our throats. While I love the guy, SummerSlam's not for him. Now, like I said, it was a less confusing outcome for Raw because we had a match right away, and the match ended up having an announcement after that, which was another match yet for SummerSlam. Now, Raw really is getting the better end of the deal, isn't it? This didn't really come out of the blue, as we saw last week a little bit of the tease between the partnership of Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Yeah, nothing much to say except I'm kind of looking forward to this match. It should be entertaining as hell. Great chemistry between all the men. As we move over to SmackDown, their whole promo ordeal ended up with a brawl and a miscommunication between Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose. It's still leaving me a bit confused as to what is the inclusion of Bray Wyatt, but needless to say that the segment, it seemed that Bray already knew what he was doing. I suppose, Dean and Dolph, ended up in this match eventually for later on in the night, but more on this later, as it was an ending match for SmackDown. Mainly for the fact that Raw didn't leave me so confused. I'm gonna have to give this one to them, as well as the whole SummerSlam with the tag team match and everything that's gonna go on. But I'm still a bit confused. What are they trying to do with Dolph Ziggler? Are they actually trying to make him look like a tough number one contender, or because as of right now it just looks like he's weak and Dean is just he's the champ. That's what it just looks like to me. They're not booking or building either up, and as of recent months, Dean hasn't really looked strong. And what the hell is the inclusion of Bray Wyatt? We keep getting Bray and everything on SmackDown. They should have just made this a triple threat. So for that matter, I'm gonna put Stephanie over and Raw over and the Head Writers, because they certainly didn't leave me confused. And that's now, as we move over to SummerSlam, Raw keeps just added another match, as I had mentioned, and I know it's 2 weeks away, but it's literally right around the corner, so we gotta talk about this. Of course, the matches go with Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton having their epic showdown, and the way that's just the whole promo work and everything's going, and the big match, the epic match that's supposed to be Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, with the two attacking each other verbally, and the women's division certainly heading the right way with Sasha Banks and Charlotte, and putting out their 5-star matches. As I had mentioned, Seth chastising Finn Balor, saying that he's just an NXT guy and whatever, and that he's no match for him, and Finn really trying to intimidate Seth Rollins and making him look at what he's gonna face at SummerSlam. Like, hey, I'm the demon. You're supposed to be scared of me. I'm gonna show you why, and I'm gonna give you a little history lesson as to what the demon can do, and all of that, and the whole video package was absolutely amazing, and Raw did a good job on that, you know, and yeah, and as well as Sasha Banks, telling Mick Foley might as well be a handicap match because Dana's gonna get involved, and Mick Foley doing the right thing, and Sasha eventually going up and over, and the whole Luke Gallows thing, the club segment, the hilarious club segment, and the build up towards the tag team match was amazing, with them getting one over Kofi Kingston, and everything. It's honestly pure gold. But then again, I'm left confused once again when it comes to SmackDown. What the hell are they doing? Like I said, what are they trying to do with Dean and Dolph? And I honestly don't know how this is gonna go. What the hell is the inclusion of Bray Wyatt? It's just I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, and as well as when it comes to Randy Orton, this week they didn't make him look as strong as I had expected them to do. An RKO can only make you look so imposing. It's not gonna do everything all the time. You can't just rely on the RKO to be the strongest asset. And for that, I'm gonna have to give point to Raw in terms of build up. The whole show was really bad because it didn't really involve a lot of fun wrestling as we had expected, but it did build up greatly for SummerSlam. And sorry SmackDown, sorry Shane, but seriously, they need to they need to fix on they need to fix the whole SmackDown. Now with Sasha and Charlotte ready to give us yet another historic match at SummerSlam for the Women's Championship, and Sasha being able to overcome the odds and have Dana banned from ringside, we look over to SmackDown Live and we get not one, if not yet two women's matches for SmackDown after, having Eva Marie pull a hamstring and Natalia blindside Carmella. As we look over to SmackDown, seeing which had the better women's division segments, overall build up, booking, whatever you want to call it. But in my opinion, the better women's division matches had to go over to SmackDown. Now, the reason being is, well, Eva Marie did a really good job of being a heel, and like I had mentioned, we got two matches. Now, I know the two matches aren't really enough to justify the fact that Eva Marie was quote unquote bringing down the division, but in all reality, I know they weren't so much entertaining, but as I had mentioned, Eva Marie really did a good job at being a heel, and she's proving to show that she has something that you really can't teach, and I'll talk more about that on the segment tomorrow on The Real Deal. But again, I have to give this one to SmackDown, although SmackDown built Sasha and Charlotte up. For SummerSlam, SmackDown gave us the debut of both Alexa Bliss and Carmella, with both of them winning their respective matches. And the thing is while Raw has the one women's feud, it seems SmackDown has two, and so overall there's three women's feuds going on. And even though we don't know if there's going to be a SummerSlam match for SmackDown for the women's division, I do have to say that I was far more entertained when it came to the SmackDown women's division than on Raw. I know Raw had Sasha Banks, but the thing is it's just it looked more like a squash match, and it was just a bit more predictable. As for SmackDown, really wasn't. Um, SmackDown was just all revolved around controversy, and Raw has mainly the women's championship in mind and having a historic match being built. But again, SmackDown does take this win for the women's division. Now, as we move over to the ending now for the both shows, now Raw had Rusev defend his title against Cesaro, which wasn't the best showing from Cesaro, but I gotta say that all the while it was still a bit entertaining match. Of course, Rusev retained with Sheamus getting involved, but this is not my review, so let's move over to how it ended. Roman, of course, would come out then after Rusev standing tall with his title. He blindside him, spear him, and it ended up with Roman holding his hand up high and pretty much declaring himself a strong contender, which is something I believe SmackDown has to take note of. Raw was able to book the champ strong and was able to show the contender as strong as well. It's looking great for Roman as well because he's not in the main event scene, which is why fans are starting to like him once again. He's not being shoved down the throats, which is what WWE had to do in the first place. Would have liked to see a triple threat match instead, and Cesaro walk in as champ. But yeah, the way it's happening now, it's all right. Seems Cesaro's gonna go with Sheamus to do something. But for the most part, I was glad the way it ended. It was pretty good. Like I had mentioned, though, Raw was a really solid show in terms of build up. We move over to SmackDown and the dysfunctional circus that is the whole main event scene. Um, we saw Dolph and Dean win. Dolph picked up the win for the team of the two of them. The contender and the champ. I honestly don't. Many people were left confused with how Dean even helped Dolph in the first place. You want your contender not going in 100%. But whatever. Dean is his. I guess it's just his gimmick that they were trying to force on us. Um, Although the match ended with Dean giving Dolph Ziggler a dirty deeds, the whole segment, the whole thing, the whole show. Must be. He had the title held up high, and like I had mentioned, he gave Dolph Ziggler dirty deeds. Now, unlike Roman Reigns and Rusev, it didn't make the champ. It just made the champ look strong rather than the contender. The contender might have picked up the win, but it wasn't, against someone like Bray. It was against Eric, and it should have just been a one-on-one match, like Dolph versus Bray again, and have or Dolph versus someone big, or if not Dean versus Bray, and have Dolph Ziggler attack Dean. Hopefully they do something like that next week. But in terms of the finishing moment, didn't really like SmackDowns that much. The match was alright, but I'm gonna have to give this one to Raw. Once Raw to me just gave the better closing moment of the two, and so yeah, I'm just gonna have to give them the point. So overall, the winner of this Raw versus SmackDown, the first edition, in my opinion, has to be Raw. They had the better opening, they had the better build up, and they had the better finishing moments. So Raw takes the win overall, but they didn't really do great when it came to the women's division. Um, Now SmackDown did have its flaws now, because a lot of people think Eva Marie brought it down. Not me. I think she was solid in building her character up. It's part of her character. She's doing a great job in it. And also Carmella's debut, Alexa Bliss's debut, and we saw more women. We saw more depth in it. And as for Raw, they just had the one match to prove with the big stipulation, and although it was a big stipulation, I didn't get to see a showdown with Charlotte and Sasha. I didn't get to see a lot with the two, and it didn't really build up so much to Slammer Slam, except for the stipulation. Although it is a big one, once again, SmackDown just to me was a bit more entertaining with its women's division. Like they seem to have finally gotten it down. They seem to know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna make each woman go, how they're gonna build up each lady. With Becky trying to be the fighter, and Alexa being the newcomer, trying to show that she is the blissful one. The Carmella being the fangirl, I guess, the baby face, the underdog, winning her match against Natalia, one of the greatest women in the business, and again, Eva Marie just proving why she is the heel. So yeah, that's the only time SmackDown took the win in this video. So yeah, sorry SmackDown. So yeah, Rock got the better end of the deal. Sorry, Shane. Anyways, though, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Comment your favorite moment from each show. Where do you disagree on me when some things? Which show did you think actually did better? And well, until next time, bye.